I grew up just outside a small country town in New South Wales called Scone, which is the horse capital of Australia. Both of my parents are horse vets, and so growing up I was surrounded by greenery, space, and lots of animals. Scone's a really interesting town. It sits at the border of both a huge range of agricultural industries and one of the largest coal mining areas in New South Wales. So because of this, I was exposed not only to the very real effects of a changing climate growing up, through things like air pollution, but also the way in which political and social discourse can either unify or divide communities. And all of these factors have shaped my journey and influenced who I am today. So in 2018, after 3 years of boarding school in Sydney, I moved to Melbourne and started my Bachelor of Science. But midway through, I came to the realisation that I no longer wanted to be a vet like my parents. Cue existential crisis. So instead of doing the prerequisite subjects required for vet, like Chem 2, which was a big mistake, I started picking ones I was actually interested in. And funnily enough, they were all related to environmental science and science communication. Towards the end of my degree and close to graduating with a major in environmental science, I had another realisation. I had now equipped myself with an enormous amount of information related to environmental science, but had no practical way to make other people care or do anything about it. And that's when I moved into public health. So peak COVID, and when it became very clear that travelling wasn't an option, I started my master's. And while public health was very much the front and centre of everyone's mind at that time, I was quickly made aware of just how much it encompassed beyond COVID. Simply, public health is ensuring that there's a fence at the top of the cliff rather than needing to have an ambulance at the bottom. It's about trying to prevent the bad thing from happening in the first place. And one of the most important things I've learned over my degree is that health outcomes for individuals are so heavily influenced by the wider set of systems and power structures that they exist within. And the system that I believe is the most important in determining these outcomes is Earth's natural system, our environment. So I began to tie together my interest in public health and my passion for sustainability, tailoring my degree by selecting subjects that had an environmental focus. And over the 2 years, the climate health space became a really important area of work for me. Towards the tail end of my master's, I found the Wattle Fellowship, and basically it couldn't have been much better suited to what I wanted to do, tie together climate change and public health to influence behaviour. I was fortunate to be selected and given the opportunity to complete an action project, which I struggled to conceptualise for a really long time. How could I inform people about the risks of climate change while balancing the notion that this knowledge has some serious implications for mental health? In the end, my thoughts distilled down to 1, it needs to be accessible for people who haven't just done degrees in public health and environmental science, and 2, it needs to be delivered in a way that doesn't make people feel paralysed into inaction. I wanted to share positive and practical information with people about why having a relationship with nature is good for us, giving people incentive to lean in and build up this connection to the planet. So my action project, Our Current Climate, is a digital platform for facilitating candid conversations and providing practical tools when navigating the climate crisis and human health. In my view, mainstream media overwhelmingly frames climate change with a negative lens. I hope that the platform is a space that counters that negative narrative we see around the climate crisis and provides some hope for the future, which is needed as we navigate this challenge together. I truly believe that by understanding the importance of nature for our own health and re-establishing a connection to our environment, like Indigenous communities have been doing for millennia, we will no doubt see the benefit for both the climate and our own health and well-being. So if you're at all interested in the ways in which a relationship with nature can benefit your own health, feel free to follow along. I've had the most incredible experience through the Wattle Fellowship, and I honestly attribute this to the fabulous people I've met along the way. So thank you to Lynn and the team for providing such an enriching experience, and thank you to my fellow fellows for everything that you've given to me in time, knowledge, understanding, and inspiration. I feel so truly grateful to have been a part of this cohort and this community.